What's going on, everyone? Shane here. So what I'm going to do today is break down one of my favorite races that I did a few years back at the Grands. This is going to be the Race of Champions, and I just want to kind of break down the three main events. So right now I'm just going to play my expert semi, let that roll while I kind of do a little intro here. So I end up making it out of all the qualifying into all three main events. You can see right there I made the pass to get into the lead in my semi. So I was feeling pretty good. Turned a lot of laps on the track, felt very comfortable. There was this decision maker here. You could go right or left. I actually felt like the left side was faster, but given the opportunity, I like to go to the right just to save some energy in the air. So there we go. I transferred to the final main event. We're going to get into the open main right here. So I'm going to kind of break this down. You could see I am all the way over here in gate 8. So definitely want to get a good gate and get over. Now, this open main and really the cruiser main are not the main focus of the video. The good stuff's really in the expert main. But I'm going to go ahead and start off with this main event, and then we'll finish off with the expert at the end. So here we go. Start this off. So gate goes down. You could see got over the first jump pretty good. Got over, tried to take control of the race, made sure to close the door. Feeling pretty good coming out of the turn, and I knew to turn it on down the second straight. There's a step up right here. A lot of people were pumping down, but I like to manual over to that next roller. And I could get a pedal in before that double. And as you could see, I really generated a lot of momentum down that second straight. And I saw the guy that was in second going into the turn pretty far back, so I decided to go to the right. Just save some energy for that cruiser main, try to wrap this thing up. At this point, my only thought is just make sure not to do anything silly and wash out in the last turn. Just take my time, get through the turn, pedal out of it, and go ahead and lock up this open win. So that's going to do it for the open class. All right, so now we are on cruiser. As you can see, they lined me up in gate 8, so feeling great about that. And then I feel like my main competition was right here in lane 1. So I was actually pretty irritated about that, getting lane 8 twice in a row in the main events. But nonetheless, I knew I had to get out and get over. So I was definitely going to try to do that. All right, so the gate's coming down. Pretty good reaction time. Starting to get a wheel out to the 30 foot. I don't see anyone immediately, so I just start cutting over as hard as I can. Try to set myself up to go straight, get a pedal across the top of the double. And then now I need to cut over really hard. Try to get over to Justin here. And now I know I can take whatever line I need to going into the turn. I don't see him there. So I kind of relax just a little bit. Focus on getting through the turn. So speed this up just a little bit. So pretty much the same thing. I get that same pedal there, get the tap manual across the double. A little bit hard getting that double manual across the triple, but as you could see, I still pedaled into the turn. Now I did feel confident to hit the pro section on my cruiser. Probably could have opted out of that since Justin was close to me. As you could see, I had to sky that second one just a little bit, and I left the door open a little bit here, so I end up pedaling out of the turn a little bit sooner than I normally would have, and I end up locking that one down as well. So now we have the expert main. As you can see, they politely moved me over to lane 6. So definitely better than 8, definitely not ideal. Here you have the guy that was in my semi right behind me. And then probably the fastest guy, arguably in lane 2. Then the guy that was on cruiser in lane 3. Another really fast rider down the first straight in lane 4. And then the guy that was leading my semi originally in lane 7. So definitely a pretty good little main event here, and not in my preferred spot, that's for sure. But at this point, I'm just trying to stay focused, stay relaxed during this little intermission while the rider is down. I'm not super worried about trying to triple, but I just want to make sure that I can at least put my best effort forward. So let's go ahead and move forward and try to get this thing started. So rider's getting up, getting ready. All right, so now we are in the gate. We're ready to fire off the main event. Let's get it started. So my main thing is I definitely want to beat this guy here. I know I can get to him. Try to get over to him if I can, and that would allow me to get to him and try to tuck in. But I got to get through this gate first. Everyone gets out pretty good. I know I'm not going to beat him. He's probably the fastest guy. So I want to at least try to get over to him. That would be my original goal. So you can see right there in that shot, I was out decently well. Coming up to the first jump here, let's see if we can pause it right there. So definitely pretty even. As I was saying, this guy's just a little bit ahead. You just kind of draw a rough line there. So I should be able to get around this guy. The guy that was right next to me in lane 5, he's already dropped back. So looking to try to move over and at least get to here. That would be my intentions. But as you can see, this full tilt rider right next to me is actually sticking with me really good. And he was out in front of me in the semi. So definitely got to watch out for that as well. Didn't get the best drive across the top of the jump, and now I'm starting to sink back a little bit. Still ahead of the guy to my inside, but not by much. And then I get kind of stuck high-siding on his jersey, the guy to my outside, I mean. So let me just pause it right here. Tough spot. This guy ended up high-lowing and coming underneath us. And I'm actually stuck. My handlebar end is stuck on his jersey sleeve, and we're basically just riding up the turn because he's pulling me into him and I'm pushing him up the turn. So at this point, you know, I'm in 5th or 6th, depending on how you look at it. Definitely not an ideal situation. And I'm pretty frustrated with the fact that I probably should have been right in here if I would have been able to just get in front of this guy in the yellow jersey and move over. But that little bit of difference ended up pushing me all the way up the turn and back to 5th. So moving out of the turn here, I was able to at least get off of his jersey and ride down the turn to try to get some momentum back. And I definitely didn't want to follow behind the guy in 5th or 4th because I knew I could get a good drive down the straightaway. So I'm trying to get a good run here. Speed this up just a little bit. I have a clear lane in front of me. And now the guy that was in 4th is actually passing for 3rd. So he's got a run on the guy in the yellow jersey, which I knew is someone who was kind of falling back. Definitely had a great first straight, this guy here, but definitely not the same track speed as these guys here. And definitely not, you know, I feel like I had more track speed than him as well. So you can see this guy, he already gave up. He's done. Didn't mean to ruin his race, but I just got stuck on his jersey. So at this point, what I'm doing is I'm looking ahead, and I want to see exactly what these guys do. If they go right, I'm going to go left. If they go left, then I'll probably just go right and hope that they crash. But like I had said, I definitely felt like the left side was faster, so I was hoping they would go to the right. And sure enough, they end up going to the right. So let's watch that. Now they're in a pretty heated battle. I know that this guy on the hyper is pretty aggressive, so I'm hoping that they tangle in the last turn, and maybe this guy ends up being the race leader. I could potentially pass him. So I'm not really worried about that at the moment. What I am worried about is, let's just rewind this just a little bit. As you go into this rhythm section here, this jump right here coming up is actually a step up, step down, and it's on a dog leg. So right here, the jump that I'm coming up, this is a step up, step down, and it's kicked out on a dog leg like this. So that way they're trying to make the pro section side shorter. And what happens is, if you count the amount of bumps or rollers or whatever you want to call it in the rhythm section, this ends up being an uneven amount, this right here, to where you'd have to pump one. So what I end up doing is I go for a double manual right here across these two. And while double manualing, I'm actually able to lean to the right and keep a really tight angle around this dog leg. And it really allows me to carry not only a lot of speed through the straightaway, but it also keeps me tight from having to push out from the dog leg and making it longer than it already is. So I was really getting across this section really well. And felt really confident doing that. And that's where I knew I kind of had an ace in my back pocket if I needed it. So I definitely hit this as hard as I could. And that's really all I was thinking about at this time, was just to get that as fast as possible. So let's see. I'm about a bike length and a half behind him right now. There's the double manual. Landed that smooth. And then now I'm starting to close in a little bit on the rider in front of me. So I go ahead and let myself flow out just a little bit to the outside. And things are tightening up here. So I jump into the turn. Now, if you look, I definitely could have manualed this right here. The reason I'm jumping here is because I'm giving myself time to assess. I don't want to be pushing myself and my momentum even further forward into the turn. If I had manualed here, I would be about another half bike closer to this battle. My front wheel would probably be right, maybe not there, right about somewhere in here. That would be around where my front wheel is. And it would have been a little bit too close. I might be running into these guys' back wheels if I try to high-low. So I opted to go ahead and jump this last part of the rhythm section to space myself out just a little bit, and you'll see why in just a second. So going to the turn, Rorty here on the inside, he ends up kind of doing a little dive bomb. He's going to come in like this and go under. And then Justin here, he's in a good spot. He could potentially go for a high-low and probably win the race. And then there's me, who is way on the outside, because I would actually like to ideally be right in here. But with Justin here, I have to actually look for a way around him first before I can even worry about this. So a lot going on in this last turn. Now, obviously, the Race of Champions is a winner-take-all event, so I'm really not looking to just pass Justin. I'm trying to find a way to win. I see Luke coming in hot, so I know these guys are going up. Really, what I'm looking at right now is, okay, Justin, where are you going to go? And what kind of window do I have based off of that? So that's my main focus right now at this point of this turn, is I'm just steadying Justin to see what he's doing. Thankfully, he is a little bit too close. There's not a lot of space here. So he's kind of stuck from doing anything immediately. And I knew that, so I just kind of hung out here on the outside. And I'm hoping to maybe take a really aggressive arc. These guys are going to go like this, and I'm hoping to take the turn something like this and see if that ends up, getting me underneath all these guys. So let's play it forward a little bit. Now, you could see I end up just going for it, pretty much that same line that I was saying. And right here, Justin ends up, deciding to go for a high-low, and he can't quite see me. He's looking like this. This is his path. These guys are going like this, but my path is like this. So unfortunately for Justin, he kind of waited a little bit too long. He had a lot of space right here to clear their back wheels. So it was really just a mistimed thing on his part. He's starting to cut down, but unfortunately I have the momentum, and you'll see in the next few frames here, he realizes he needs to check up, and that pretty much ends up being the end of his race. Now these guys, they're making contact right here, and they're still going up the hill. So they're actually losing momentum, and this is starting to work out in my favor right here. So I'm just going for it. I'm not on the brakes at all. I'm trying to push myself out as wide as I can to carry momentum, because I've been flat tracking the majority of this berm here, almost on the bottom. And I'm going to have a hard time carrying momentum if I continue this line all the way out of the turn. I really need to push out wide and try to carry momentum instead of, cutting tight, because I could probably do that, but I'm just not going to be able to carry momentum while doing it. So here we go. Finish off the turn. There you see Justin. He checks up. He sees me coming in. Now Luke, he ends up fully executing the pass. He's in front of Dylan. Dylan's race is pretty much over, and he's looking forward, and he can't really see me at this moment, but I think he knows to drive forward, and it's going to get pretty interesting here. The you know, the cards are still kind of stacked against me because having to go under Justin did not allow me to push out as far as I would have liked. So I'm pretty much going to have to hold this line moving forward. And then Luke, he can actually come down the turn a little bit and come like this and actually carry some better momentum out of the turn than me. So it's really going to be tough to finish off this race and win. But obviously I'm going to give it my best shot. Really what it's going to come down to is this tabletop. So you can see we're both pedaling. And now here's a good shot. I'm clearly well behind the race leader here. So I'm strictly relying on momentum from a better run. Really, that wasn't my line. It was more like this off the top. And then I just kind of came like this. So I'm just hoping that I can somehow carry more momentum and then also somehow get a better drive here on the tabletop. And then obviously a really good bike throw at the line is the only way I'm going to get around him, because now he's in clean air. He just came off of the turn, so he's been riding downhill, where if anything, I've been riding on the flat and now I'm going uphill. So it's really not a great spot for me to be in. Way better than I was in the first turn, but as far as being able to win the race from right here, definitely going to be tough. But I feel like I had some, you know, roll speed, so I was definitely going to go for it. So I was actually mistaken. This is not the tabletop. This is a roller, and that's probably one of the only other reasons I was able to win this race, which you'll end up seeing here in a second, is because if it was just a tabletop, I wouldn't have had enough time to get back around him. So let's play it, and you'll see what ends up happening here over the roller. So I'm pretty far back. We both pick up, but look right here. I just want you guys to see the difference in what we're doing over the roller. So actually, we got to run that back just one more time here. So coming out of the turn, and then watch right here. We're both pedaling, and we both get that last pedal at around the same spot. And right there, right here. Obviously, we're at different points in the track, but you could see the difference in the front wheel. If you look at his, it's a couple inches off the ground, and then mine is probably maybe 6-7 inches off the ground. And I really fully extended my body to really overemphasize this roller. So I stopped pedaling in enough time to really do a dramatic pickup manual to basically try to skip the upside of this roller and really minimize the effect it would have on my forward momentum. And he definitely got his front wheel up as well. Nothing bad going on here, but it's just slightly less dramatic. And maybe let's see what ends up happening here when we actually go over the roller. So it's so minimal, but watch his front wheel as he comes over the top of the roller, because we're splitting hairs here, and this type of stuff matters. If you watch, he ends up touching the top, just the very top, right there, and I don't. And then I take a pedal. So because he was recovering from that bonk, I'm assuming, and it was minimal, it was a minimal bonk, but he has a small bonk here on the top, right there, gets his balance back. Look, it hits him in the chin. I don't take a full crank revolution. Now we're coming up the table, and he's still a wheel ahead. This race is really his to lose. But that right there was the next step in success for me to be able to execute this pass at the line. I got over the roller better, and I did a full revolution here between the roller and the table. He was not able to. He took the crossbar to the chin, and he didn't pedal. So he lost just a little bit of momentum by tapping his front wheel on the top of the roller. And then on top of that, he missed a pedal. Probably still should be able to win the race. It's going to be really hard for me to get by. Let's go ahead and play the tabletop. So I'm going to run it back really quick. I just want you guys to see something, but I want to play it through a little bit so you could see that. So watch the approach he takes on the table and then watch me. It's only in the frame for just briefly. So watch his back wheel. Watch Luke's back wheel as we go off of the tabletop. And then just watch his right now. So he goes for a nose tap. Right there, look, back wheel off the ground. So there goes his nose tap, and he lands smooth. Very smooth, good backside. Look at this. He is getting all the backside. Very smooth landing. So nothing bad there, but compare that to what I ended up doing. And keep in mind, I'm coming off the flat, so I'm really trying to generate forward momentum where he at least was able to come off of the turn. So he rode down the turn, I rode off the flat part of the turn. So I'm basically still trying to accelerate up to my speed where he's kind of got a little bit more momentum. So anyways, now watch my back wheel. Coming up the table. Absorb the lip. And there it is, back wheel on the ground. Another full revolution. And then one more revolution. And then bam. This is the last key that sealed the deal right here. I don't know at what point he realized I was even coming. I feel like this might have been the first time he thought I was even there, because I was relatively out of his view, and he probably thought he had the race won, and that might have been why he even nose tapped that tabletop. And now he obviously sees me. We're side by side. So he knows it's a close race. I don't know at what point he ended up seeing me, if this was the first time or not. But if you look here, we're probably about 6-7 feet from the finish line, and I've already stopped pedaling. It's too late to pedal, and I'm starting to initiate my bike throw. My bike's going forward, my body's going down and back. And here on Luke's side, he's just starting to crouch down and try to do something, but my bike's already coming forward. So definitely a key difference there. And if you watch, let's go forward a few frames. So my bike throw is fully extended now, and I'm extended slightly prematurely. Maybe my wheel is off the ground right here, so it's actually a little bit deceptive. I'm probably a foot, maybe 10 inches from the finish line. And then Luke is just starting to complete his bike throw, so just a little bit late on his extension. He's still getting his bike out there, but if you run it back just a little bit, let's just go back here. What I want to point out is, so he doesn't pedal. Watch his feet. He's not pedaling. And then right there, now he fits in a pedal. So I feel like that pedal probably limited his movement forward as well. And he needed to pedal, but it was a little bit too little too late. So whether it limited his movement or not is not really the big issue, but it definitely was a pedal too late. And I have to assume he just didn't know I was even coming on the inside. There was really nothing on the announcer talking about it, and I was never in the race that whole time. And I'd have to imagine it's hard to see me at this point. But either way, back wheel's off the ground there, can't pedal, lands, still doesn't pedal, sees me, starts pedaling, bike throw, but it's too late, and I end up winning the race. So probably my second greatest finish there that I've ever had. Definitely an epic way to finish off the R.O.C, sweeping all 3 classes. So I just wanted to come in here and kind of do a little breakdown on this race and kind of the way that I look at the races and what's going on in my head. And then obviously you can really see all the little intricacies of what everyone else is doing when you watch a race back like this. And I feel like there's a lot to learn from this race in particular. And the main reason I wanted to come in here and break this exact race down is just to try to inspire you guys to, you know, really never give up. Obviously, I probably shouldn't have been able to win this race, but I never stopped believing in myself, and I never stopped trying to find a way to win it. And sure enough, as you could see here, I ended up winning, and not only that, it ended up giving me the triple, and I ended up carrying the R.O.C plate on all 3 bikes in that class, or all 3 classes of that age group, I mean. So really cool race, and I just want to come in here and kind of break it down for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys very much.